Greetings to everyone. I hope everyone is well. So today we will be doing taxation. Okay. So I hope you are also familiar with taxation since you are doing mathematical literacy. So this is paper one content. Okay. So we'll be focusing on taxation today. Okay. So the first thing that you should know, or the first thing that you should consider before calculating taxation, you should know that we have this thing called tax threshold. So when it comes to tax threshold, we don't deduct it on a salary. We just check whether are you qualifying or not, and tax threshold is being checked for each and every year. They are checking it each and every year, whether do you qualify to pay tax or not. Okay. Then we have the second thing called tax bracket. So I'll show you guys during our lesson in terms of how do we identify the tax bracket in terms of when we are calculating. Okay. So then the third thing, we have medical tax credit. So when it comes to medical tax credit, it's whereby we are checking the taxpayer in terms of the people he or she included on his or her medical tax credit. It can be a wife, it can be children, it can be a grandmother, it can be a grandfather. So anyone from the family can be included on the medical tax credit. Then we have the fourth, which is the rebates. So when we are talking about the rebates, it's whereby we are talking about, we have three rebates. So we have primary, we have secondary, we have tertiary. So our rebates are identified by the years, in terms of the years that how old is that particular person. So that is how we identify the correct rebates. So I'm going to show you here, we have tables, we have tax income, rating tax, we have tax rebate, we have tax year, we have tax threshold, we have tax year, we have medical tax credit, and also tax year. Okay. So if you will need this addendum, you can go to www.saexampapers.co.za, as I've shared the link here, as you can see, guys. So question one says, calculate Mr. Johnson annual taxable income. So as I've given you on question two, guys, actually number two on question one. So as I've written here that Mr. Johnson earns a monthly taxable income of 39,000. So firstly, we would need to check the steps. You should know the steps of calculating taxation. So in terms of the steps, we have 6 steps of calculating taxation. So step number one, it's whereby we identify or convert monthly salary to annual salary. Okay. So if you are earning a monthly salary, step number one, we are going to identify your annual salary by multiplying by 12. As you can know, a year has 12 months. So we are going to multiply by 12. Then step number two, it's whereby we are going to identify tax deductible, deductible items. Okay. So when it comes to tax deductible items, we can include these things which are called fringe benefits, guys. We are talking about fringe benefits. Under fringe benefits, we have UIF, we have pension fund, we have provident fund, we have lastly donations, then etc. and many more if there are any fringe benefits. So these are the tax deductible items actually. Okay. Then we go to step number 3. Then under step number 3, it's whereby we check whether an individual qualifies for tax threshold. So as I've said, guys, under tax threshold, we just check that whether an individual qualifies for tax threshold. But tax threshold, we don't deduct it on our calculations. We just only check. Yeah? Then we have step number 4. So under step number 4, it's whereby we determine the correct tax bracket. Okay. So when it comes to identifying the correct tax bracket, as you can see here, we have taxable income and the rate of tax. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 columns. So these 7 columns are the tax brackets. So if they are asking you a question to identify the correct tax bracket, you are going to check under these columns. So the first column, it's called tax bracket number 1, up until the 7th column, whereby we are going to say it's the 7th tax bracket. Okay, so that's how we identify the correct tax bracket. Then we go to step number 5. Then under step number 5, it's whereby we deduct the rebates and medical credits. So we are going to deduct rebates whether in terms of we are going to check the age of that individual in terms of which tax bracket, actually which rebate does that person qualifies for, and also the medical credits in terms of which family members did this person paying this tax include on his or her taxable income. So it can be wife, it can be a husband, it can be a grandmother, grandfather, it can be children, any. So we are going to check that under medical credits, then we deduct. Okay. Then step number 6. Under step number 6, it's whereby we are going to convert to monthly salary if specified. Okay. So the last step is whereby after all your calculations, if the statement says calculate his monthly taxable income, for example, so it means at the end you are going to divide by 12 to convert all your calculations in terms of monthly. So if they are saying monthly, we are going to convert our final answer by dividing it by 12 to make it monthly. Okay. So what I can advise you guys is to know these steps, because if you don't know them, you are going to make mistakes. So if you know these steps, it will be easier for you to calculate taxation. Okay, so let us try to attempt question one, number one, actually. Okay, so as I've said that Mr. Johnson earns a monthly taxable income of 39,000. So if they're saying calculate annual taxable income, we are going to take his monthly salary, which is 39,000, then multiply it by 12. Okay, so when you are multiplying by 12, you're going to use your calculator. So it gives us 468,000. So this is his annual taxable income. Okay, annual taxable income. So it's 468,000. His monthly taxable, his annual taxable income. Okay. So we move to the second question, which says Mr. Johnson is a 66-year-old and earns a monthly taxable income of 39,000 and contributes 7.5% towards pension fund. He has a wife and two kids, Ellen and Helen. Okay. So calculate his monthly net salary. So it's 8 marks. So they have told us to use 2024 tax year. As you can see, guys, we have 2024, we have 2023, we have 2022. So we are given an instruction that we should use 2024. Okay. So we are going to use those steps to calculate the monthly net salary of Mr. Johnson. Okay. So under step number one, it's whereby it's specified that we should convert monthly salary to annual. Okay, so we are going to say 39,000. We have already done that. Okay, multiplied by 12, which gave us 468,000. So this is Mr. Johnson's annual taxable income. Okay. This is step one. Step number one, whereby we are required to convert monthly to annual salary. Okay. If you are given monthly salary, you should convert it to annual. But if you are given annually, there's no need to do step number one. It means you're going to start by step number two. Okay, so we are going to check in terms of the steps. Okay, so this person, they're saying he contributes 7.5% towards pension fund. Okay, so these are the benefits that we mentioned, which are tax deductible. Okay, so this person contributes 7.5% towards pension fund. So we are given percentage, we are not given amount. Okay, so what we are supposed to do here is to identify the amount. We want an amount, not a percentage, because you can't deduct a percentage inside an amount. So this is what we are going to do. We are going to take his annual taxable income, which is 468,000, multiply it by the percentage, which is 7.5%, then divide it by 100. Okay, so the reason why we are doing this is because we want to see in terms of how much is this person paying towards pension fund, because we are given percentage, but we don't know the amount, the actual amount, whether it's how much. Okay, so you are going to do it on your calculator. So it gives us that this 7.5%, it's 35,100. So this 35,100 stands for this 7.5%. Okay, so 35,100, it stands for 7.5%. So remember that you should deduct it. You should not find it only, then leave it as it is. So we are supposed to take the annual taxable income, which is 468,000, then deduct the pension fund, which is 35,100. Okay, 35,100. So the remaining amount is 432,900. So this is the remaining amount. And this is step number. It's step 2, whereby we are deducting the benefits. Okay, step 2. Okay, step number 2. Okay, then we are going to move now to the tax threshold. So we are going to check whether this person qualify for tax threshold. So we are going to go to the table of tax threshold. As you can see, the amount is 132,900. Okay, so now I'm going to check under step number 3. Step 3, we are going to check the tax threshold. Step 3, check whether he qualifies for tax threshold. Okay, so let's check whether Mr. Johnson qualifies for tax threshold, since we have found out that the amount that he has, it's 132,900. Okay, so we're going to move to the table of tax threshold. So we have been told that we should use the tax year of 2024. Okay, as we can see, we are going to check the years. Okay, we are going to check the years. So we're going to check Mr. Johnson is a 66-year-old. So we are going to use the very same thing that we have used under the tax rebates, whereby they have returned 64 and less old, 65 and older, 75 and older, in order for us to determine the correct tax threshold. So as we can see, under primary, we have 64 years and old. And as we can see, Mr. Johnson is a 66-year-old, okay? It means Mr. Johnson qualifies for primary rebate, okay? Which automatically means he also qualifies for primary under threshold, okay? But we are going to check the amount. So the amount says 95,750. And remember that the amount of Mr. Johnson is it's 432,900, as I've wrote there. Okay, it means he qualifies for primary, and remember that he's a 66-year-old. It means he qualifies for primary and secondary. But under tax threshold, we are checking the years and also the amounts, whether that particular person qualifies for tax threshold. So as you can see, under primary and secondary, we have 95,750. It means Mr. Johnson qualifies for primary. Then secondary, we have 148,217, which means again, Mr. Johnson qualifies for secondary. So we are going to conclude by saying Mr. Johnson qualifies for tax threshold. So I'm writing this for you to see that this person qualifies for tax threshold. Okay, so we are not deducting anything. We are just checking whether an individual qualifies for tax threshold. Okay, so we are going to step number 4. So under step number 4, it's whereby we determine the correct tax bracket. Okay, checking the amount, the final amount that we have, which is 132,900. So we are going to check in terms of the tax bracket that Mr. Johnson qualifies for, since the amount is 432,900. 900. So we are going to move to tax brackets, okay? So as I've told you that these tables are called tax brackets. So as you can see, we have one rand actually, 237,100, which is tax bracket number 1. So as you can see, we have the numbers on the left hand side, we have the numbers on the right hand side. So the numbers on the left hand side, they represent the minimum amounts, okay? And the numbers on the right hand side, they represent the maximum amount, okay? So by looking here, the first tax bracket, Mr. Johnson doesn't qualify for tax bracket number 1 because of the amounts. They are less than the money that we have now, okay? So we are going to move to tax bracket number 2, which we have 237,000, the minimum amount 101, then minimum amount we have 370,500. But still, when we are checking at the amount that we had there, we can see that under tax bracket number 2, the amounts are still less. When we are checking from minimum to maximum, we can see that these amounts are not accommodating the money that Mr. Johnson had, okay? So we are going to move to tax bracket number 3. So under tax bracket number 3, we have a minimum amount of 370,501 to the maximum amount of 512,800. So now we can see that that money we had, which is, let's check the money that we had, okay, which is 132,900. So we can see now that under tax bracket number 3, the money accommodates the money that Mr. Johnson has. So it falls in between 370,501 to 512,800. So it means Mr. Johnson will qualify for tax bracket 3. So this is step number 4. Step number 4. So since we have identified our correct tax bracket, we are going to use the information under tax bracket number 3. Okay. So let's check. So we are going to use that information of 77,362 plus 31% of taxable income above 370,500. So that is the information that we are going to use. Okay, so now let's start to calculate. So we have an amount of 77,362. Then we are going to say plus, then open bracket. Okay, then we are going to say 31% divided by 100, then say multiply by, open another bracket. Then we are going to take that amount of 432,900. So we are going to say 432,900 minus. We are going to check the information there on tax bracket number 3. So we have used the 77,362, and we have also used the percentage of 81%. Okay. Then now we have used the Johnson had, but we have to deduct it with a certain amount. So we are going to deduct it with of taxable income above 370,500. So we are going to deduct it with that amount. So we are going to deduct it with 370,500. Okay. So then close, we are going to close our bracket. Then we are going to apply the BODMAS rule. Okay. We should firstly remove what's inside the brackets. Okay. Then we are going to also use the method of bringing down. Okay. So we are going to bring down 77,362 plus, then now we are going to solve the brackets. So we are going to say the 31% divided by 100, okay? So we are going to have 0.31. Then multiply by, solve again what's inside the brackets, 432,900 minus 370,500, which gives us 62,400, okay? Then we are going to close our brackets, okay? So we are going to bring down again 77,362. Then we are going to say plus. Now we are no longer opening the brackets because we are left with 0.31 and also the amount we got after minusing those amounts. So we are going to just say now 0.31 multiplied by 62,400, which gives us 19,344. Okay. Then we are going to add these amounts, the 77,000 and also the 19,000. Okay. So when we are adding the amounts, it gives us the total amount of 96,706 rands. Okay. So now we are moving to step number 4. Okay. Remember, step number 4. Actually, sorry guys, step number 5. So whereby we are deducting the rebates and also the medical credits. Okay. So now we are going to deduct the rebates. So we are going to check the years in terms of how old is Mr. Johnson. Then we can see that Mr. Johnson is a 66-year-old. So let's check the rebates. Okay. The rebates. So the rebate says under primary 64 years and less. So if you have 64 years going down, you are going to pay 17,235. Okay. But if you are 65 years and older, you are going to fall for primary rebate and also secondary rebate because you have surpassed the primary rebate and also the secondary. But now you are on secondary actually because you are 65 and old. But if you are above 75 years old, it means you're going to qualify for primary, secondary, and tertiary. As we can see, Mr. Johnson qualifies for 2 rebates, which are primary and secondary because he is a 66-year-old. He has passed 64 years and he has also passed 65 years, okay? So we are going to add the amounts of primary and secondary rebates, okay, before deducting. So after addition, okay, or you can just simply say, take the amount as it is for primary, say 17,234, which is for primary, okay? It's for primary. Then minus 9,444, which is for secondary, okay? This is the simple way you can do it. Then the remaining amount is 70,028. Okay. We are not done because we also have the medical credits that we need to calculate, guys. So under the medical credits, you can just simply do things aside on a separate paper or a scribbler. Just do your calculations aside, okay? So remember that Mr. Johnson, the statement says he has a wife and 2 kids, okay? So this is what is going to happen under medical credits. So they've specified that it's per month. And remember that we are dealing by an annual thing, not per month, okay? So we have the first column, which says for the taxpayer, which the taxpayer is Mr. Johnson, okay? Then for the first dependent, it can be someone who comes first before others actually, okay? So now we have the taxpayer. Then the first dependent is going to be Mr. Johnson's wife, actually, okay? because she's the one which comes first before the children, okay? So the children are going to enter on each additional dependent because they are additional. But the first person that comes is Mr. Johnson's wife, okay? So we are going to take these amounts for 2024, the 728, which there are two. Then we also have 246 for each additional dependent, okay? So we are going to do our calculations separately, okay? So we are going to say 728, sorry, multiplied by 2, which is for Mr. Johnson and his wife. So it means automatically they are 2. And also remember that they are contributing the same amount. The amounts are the same, okay? Then we are also going to multiply it by 12, because remember, we are talking about annual, not monthly. So we should convert also the amount to annual, okay? So the total we have, it's 17,000. It's 17,472. Okay, for the first dependent and also the main member, which is Mr. Johnson, okay? Then now we are going to do for the children that they have, Mr. Johnson and the wife, okay? So it's 246 multiplied by 2, which is the 2 stands for Helen and Ellen, the children that Mr. Johnson and his wife they have, okay? And we're going to multiply by also 12 because we need annual, not monthly. Okay, so we have 5,904 for the children, Helen and also Ellen. So at the end, we are going to add the totals, which the totals are 17,472 plus the 5,904. Need the total of the amount. Or alternatively, you can just take the amounts and deduct them separately. Take the 17,472, then say minus 5,904 on that amount we are remaining with now, okay? But I've decided to add them so that we can make things simpler, okay? So the total is 23,376. So we are going to take this 23,376 minus it with the amount that we are left with, which is 70,028. So we are going to deduct that 23,376. So we have deducted the amount, okay? So let's see now the amount that we are left with. So we are going to be left with 46,652, okay? So we are not done because the statement said that calculate his monthly net salary. So we have two salaries, guys. We have gross salary, we have net salary. So gross salary is the money that you receive before any deductions. That is gross salary. Then net salary, it's money after deductions. So as you can see, guys, we have calculations. It means we are calculating the money after deductions. Okay, so but they have specified that monthly. Okay, so which automatically means we are going to divide by 12. Okay, so let's see now 46,000 divided by 46,652 divided by 12. So it gives us 3,887, 66666. So the amount continues, guys. Okay, so we are going to apply the rounding method. Okay, so the amount is going to be approximately 3,000 887, comma, we are going to round to the nearest 2 decimal place, because remember, money has 2 decimal places after a comma. Okay, so it's going to be 3,887, comma, 67 cents, 67 cents. Okay, this is our money after deductions, and we have converted it to monthly. So this is step number 6, whereby we are converting to monthly if specified. So now we are done with our calculations for question 1, statement number 2. Okay, so now we will move, guys, to question number 3, whereby they are saying, show how the amount of 77,362 was calculated. Okay, which the amount, I'm going to highlight the amount so that you can see it. Okay, so that you can see the amount that we are talking about. Okay, let me highlight. Here's the amount. Here's the amount. Here's the amount. Okay, yes, so I've highlighted the amount, which is 77,362. So they want you to show us in terms of how was the amount identified or calculated. Okay, so now we are going to do calculations and see how are we going to calculate and find the 77,362. So what I can advise you here, guys, is that this 77,362, they will place an alphabet. You won't be able to see it in terms of which amount is it actually. So you will need to know how to calculate and be sure about your answer without verifying or checking whether is it correct or not. So the first thing that you are going to do here, the amount, as you can see, it's on text bracket number 3. So you are going to use text bracket number 2 in order to find the answer for text bracket number 3. Okay, so we are going to use this 42,678 on text bracket number 2, and also we are going to use the percentage of 26,000, of 26%. Then things are going to change when it comes to taxable income above. Yeah? On taxable income above, we are going to take the amount on text bracket number 3, where we are looking for that amount under text bracket number 3, which we are going to take the amount of taxable income above. We are going to take that 370,000 under text bracket number 3, 370,500, then minus it with the amount above on top, which is 237,100. So what I can tell you guys, if you are able to do this first step that I'm talking about, you won't get lost. Okay, so let's do it, guys. Let's do it. Let's calculate now. Okay, let's calculate. Okay, let me fix something here. Okay, let's calculate now. So we are going to say 42,678, the amount on text bracket number 2, the first amount. Remember that we want the amount on text bracket number 3. So 42,678, then we are going to say plus, we are going to open the bracket, use the percentage on text bracket number 2, which is 26%, divide by 100, then multiply by, open the brackets. Then we are going to take the amount on text bracket number 3, which is 370,500, okay, minus 237,100. So guys, the advice that I can give you when doing this, as you are not, you cannot see the addendum, okay, you can just try to download the addendum on the website, okay, on the website as I've provided it with, it says visit us at www.saexampapers.co.za. So you can have two devices so that you can be able to refer, okay, in terms of when I'm calculating, you can go with me step by step, okay? Then we are going to apply the Botmas rule. We are going to deal with the brackets before. Then we are going to also apply the method of bringing down, okay? So we are going to bring down 42,678 plus, we need to solve the bracket, okay? Then we are going to say 26% divided by 100, okay? Which will give us 0.26. Then you're going to say multiply by, then you're going to deduct now. You're going to say 370,500 minus 237,100, which is going to give us 133,400. We are going to close the brackets, okay? Then we are going to bring down again the 42,678. Then we are going to say plus. So now we need to solve the bracket for the last time. So we are going to say 0.26 multiplied by 133,400. So it's going to give us 34,684. So we are going to add this amount. So it's going to give us 77,362. So as you can see, guys, we were able to find the amount of 77,362. So you can do this up until the last bracket, okay? So if you want, let's say, for example, you want the answer for tax bracket number 4, which is 121,475. You are going to use the amount we have found, the 77,362, in order for you to find the amount on tax bracket number 4. So that's how we calculate the taxation, guys. So can you please try to watch the video and subscribe on my YouTube channel and comment and tell me what do you think about the video. Was the video helpful or useful? Wishing you all the best, guys. Wishing you a good luck, and I hope this helps you guys in terms of your academics. So you can just click the subscribe button and watch the video. I thank you so much, guys.